Hello, friend. Welcome back. Now we are going to wrap up our profit potential, our attracting money section with the throat center. This is the communication and action function, and this is selling, getting attention. Again, if you need to fast forward a little bit to get yourself through this, I am reviewing this on each and every one because I believe it is important. The material plane, so the goal in all of this is to attract money in the correct way. Satisfaction, success, peace, and awe, these are feelings and recognition of our world and our lives through the correctness of our decision-making strategy. And when we focus in on these particular four feelings or realizations, money can flow to us easily. Because if we make money the main focus, that's never going to bring any of these feelings. Because if we're forcing the world and we're forcing up against it, there's always going to be resistance. When you go with the flow, there's no resistance. So it has to start with alignment of your design, and then the attraction process happens. Making money will never be satisfying, making more money will never be satisfying, but being satisfied while making money is a totally different story. So here, you're going to learn how you naturally sell and how you can also be sold. Because all of this openness is two things. It's the doorway for your client to get to you, but it is also the doorway for you to get out to gain wisdom and be sold on the exact same things that you eventually sell. The material world, we focus in on the third line. Why? Because the third line is the heart of making money in the material world. It's all about trial and error. It has a process of embracing failure. This becomes great wisdom in our world. If you didn't have third line beings that were making errors, there would be absolutely no way for us to learn so that we can adapt, we can pivot, innovative, creative. It's the martyr and the anarchist breaking down the old so that the new innovations can come through. The material way. This is capitalism. We are designed for capitalism, but I will tell you that this is all changing. The 1949 is breaking down. So the ego circuitry in and of itself is going to change. And capitalism no longer is going to be quote-unquote crony capitalism. It is going to be anarcho-capitalism. Anarcho-capitalism. Individuated. Unique. Be you. People are buying and selling our unique designs. That's what is going to take place. And it isn't about stepping on other people's toes, enslaving humanity to get to the top. This is going to be a very harmonistic reality that we are going to embark on. So let's just review. The throat center, this is the quarter of civilization, and this is all about the establishment and maintaining of the form principle on our planet. And, this happens all through the thyroid and the parathyroid. We see the ability to manifest form on our planet. And when the larynx dropped 12,000 some odd years ago, we were able to then have a language. And this is all about form. We form through our languaging. And it is something to recognize about this unity. This unity can only be found in one thing and one thing only. The unity of that single biological association is found in what we call the voice, or in what we call the way in which language comes out of us. We are going to walk through each one of these. I'm going to break it down for you, and then we will drop into the profit potential piece of this. When we look at the individual aspect of, I know I know. Of the 23. The I am now in the 20. The I can in the 8. The I act in the 12. In the collective, in the logic. I think with the details. The 31, I lead with influence. The 16 is I experiment with identification. The abstract, 56, I believe. The 35, I feel. And the 33, I remember. And then the only voice of the tribe, I have. That's what the 45 says. So let's break this down. Here we have all of the collective logic. The 62, this gate is reasonableness or unreasonable. When we say, oh, I think, it's either a reasonable thought or an unreasonable thought. It's details. The 1762 logically organizes that mental opinions into details and facts. This does not mean that it's true or that it is truth. Just means that it is logically organized. So here, you can express yourself in a reasonable way or in a completely unreasonable way. And we recognize that. We have had these people in our world where they're expressing this to us and it's like, that is totally unreasonable. Or that's a reasonable thought. This is the actor that is in that fourth line of that fourth gate up here. So manifestation as a verbal expression of pattern or not. Remember, any three of these, and these three, and 16, they aren't designed for action. I'm going to show you what's designed for action. Then we have this 16. This is approval or disapproval. I experiment. I experiment with the pattern or not. The gate of identification. This is the importance of logical process in our lives. The voice of disapproval is deeply uncomfortable, and the voice of approval is soothing. This expresses talent and the skill that is inherent in that. And it carries the power to challenge. Remember, the 18 and the 58 down here. That power to challenge. The collective approval and disapproval. I don't like that group. It can carry a lot of weight. Manifestation of pattern or not. I think I can. 31. So again, if you see here, logic is starved of energy. There's no motors directly connecting this. So the 31 is that authority, this powerlessness. I lead or I don't lead. It's the gate of influence. So when we think of leaders, we want those leaders to have a voice of authority. Who wants to follow someone with a powerless voice? The expression of leadership and influence for the future. The individual. The 23, insist or desist. I know, or I don't know. It'll insist that it knows, but it actually doesn't know. It's the gate of assimilation. Bringing together, bringing that breakthrough down and bringing it together. It is here to explain mutation, and if it cannot do that, it is better for the freak to desist than learn this quickly, as there is a fear of rejection that is on the other side in the 43. So they learn very quickly, these 23s. I need to desist. I don't really know. I cannot land this mutation at this time. This is the voice that is there to transform the mind. It's the mechanical impulse to impart knowing or not. The 20, I am now. A gate of contemplation. As an individual gate, knowing is the theme, and knowing is not a pattern or a process. Knowing is something mutative and spontaneous. It is waiting for the pulse to know. Complex as it is a part of integration, and integration is not social and is not accessed by others. By others. Can you help me? I don't know. This voice is there to protect the body and bring mutation in the now. Mutation of knowing or not. I know I am now. The 8th gate. I can. I know I can. The gate of, that should say contribution, sorry. And I'm not sure if I said the 20th gate is decisive or indecisive. I know or I don't know. The 8th gate is certain or uncertain. It's the gate of contribution. The individual gate says, I know or I can, but that doesn't mean that they know or that they can. If the voice of I can is spoken with certainty, there is power there. The voice that demonstrates that it can be of value. This is a demonstration, and you're going to see that when we get into the pentamore. The expression of individual demonstration. The 12th gate is caution and abandon. Remember, here we have this the spikes of the emotional moodiness. This is the gate of caution. Very mutative gate, as this is the social bridging to the collective so it can mutate others. This is knowing when to act with abandon and when to be cautious and not act. The voice is there to transform the spirit. Wave that operates in a pulse. It is there, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's there. So the individual passion, manifestation of openness or not. This is a maybe. The collective abstract. Hope and despair comes from the 56. I believe or I don't believe. This is the gate of stimulation, stimulating that story. Everybody's story has a value. But don't get caught up in the story and allow it to hold you in the past. The abstract voice that is the connection to our human experiential way, and it is rooted in the past. The spiritual story, the parable, the revelation, the stories of the fates. That is the wave of hope and despair. It is discovering something, manifestation as verbal description of realization or not. The 35, we have another emotional gate here. The 35 is this encourage or discourage. I feel or I don't feel. The gate of progress. I feel good, because if I don't feel good, I feel good or I don't feel good. I'm not sure why those becauses are in there. I'll have to adjust that for you. I apologize. I feel good because, that's what it is. I feel good because ... Remember, the collective experience is always, it's blaming other people. Or giving other people credit or blaming other people. So I feel good because blah, blah, blah did blah, blah, blah. Or I don't feel good because blah, blah, blah did blah, blah, blah. This is that peaks and crashes of expectation, an important gate because it encourages you to continue in the experience of life. Or it discourages you. The wave that builds with desire and crashes with disappointment. That was quite an adventure. Can encourage or discourage, that was quite an adventure. That can discourage people. Or, hey, that was quite an adventure. It can encourage people. So expresses the assessment of the experiential way through its relationship to the other, manifestation of a feeling or not. And then the 33, this experience or inexperience, I remember, I don't remember. The gate of privacy has the secret, or it doesn't have, or it does not have the secret, is looking for a phenomena. They're looking at the way events unfold. They look for the sequence. If you have not had the experience, the voice carried the inexperience, and the other person doesn't believe your story. So the expression of the transcendence through remembering. You know, if you're trying to repeat somebody else's story, and there's no confidence there, and there's no experience there, I shouldn't say confidence, but no experience there, we can sense that as human beings. But if you've had the experience and that energy's there behind that story, that's a totally different story. Now let's take a look at the tribal, the only gate that allows for the tribe to have a voice. Possessiveness or non-possessiveness. I have or I don't have. This is not about speaking about the life process. This is strictly the material plane. The haves and the haves not on the material plane. This is the dominant or subservient action, manifestation of supportive resources. So why do I talk about action? Well, taking action is one of the primary things that the voice, the throat, the communication and action does. So manifestation really is for everyone. However, action is for the 4 gates in the throat that are directly connected to the manifesting channels and the manifesting generator channel. Something to ponder. Half of our action, 2212 and the 3635, is rooted in the emotional intelligence that has this embedded no truth in the now. We know this. The solar plex has no truth in the now. So those 2 gates of action need to assess. They need to come to emotional intelligence before they take action. They're the themes of the tribe in the 45, the individual in the 12, and the collective in the 35 and the 20. So the gates of action are controlled by the emotions, the ego, and the sacral, not the mind. That's so important. The mind has nothing to do with manifestation. So the primary gates of action, that's the 35, this progress that is encouraging or discouraging action. The standstill of the 12, which is cautious or incautious action. The 45, this gathering together, dominant or subservient action. And the contemplation of the 20, decisive or indecisive action. So when we look at these gates of action, the 35, I feel like doing or not. The 12, I'm in the mood to do or not. The 45, I have to do or not. Now look at the 20. Look at how many different options we have here. I know I am myself doing now or not when you have all of integration. When you don't have the 57, but you have the other 3. I am myself doing now or not. When you have the 20, the 57, and the 34, I know I am doing now or not. Or the 2034, I am doing now or not. This is mine, the 2034, 3420, right here. And one of the things that I hear myself saying a lot is, oh, I guess I'm doing this now. I am doing. That's what's happening. I am moving around on this plane, allowing for the response to be the response. I say that to myself so many times. Oh, I guess I'm doing this now. Oh, I guess I'm doing this now. There's no mental process about it. It's just the movement of the body. So the 45, the voice of we, as it is tribal. This is a tribal action. The gate is speaking for the tribe. Taking action alone is not comfortable. They are here to gather together. I have to do or not. This is the action of necessity, and this is tribal necessity. We've been through the tribe. You guys have been through that tribal circuitry. It's all about resources. It's all about fulfilling those resources, fulfilling water, food, shelter, territory, bargain, ceremony. The 35. The story of what we are here to do as we are here. Encourages others to join the movement or to discourage them. It shares experience. Taking action alone is not a comfortable thing. This is a collective action. The collective action failure or success is always because of the other. Remember I said that. It's a blame game. If I feel like doing, I encourage others. If I don't feel like doing, I discourage others. The 12, I'm in the mood or not. If no 22, it is simply about the impulse to take the action. Individual and highly mutative. It is intended to transmit mutation to another specifically. The 34, 20. In the beginning was integration, and integration is the manifesting generator. Taking action out of response. The basic action to protect oneself. This is one's process. And the beautiful piece of this is that the thyroid system operates this whole thing. The thyroid gland is that butterfly-shaped organ located at the base of your neck. It releases hormones that control metabolism, the way your body uses energy, and regulating vital body functions. The parathyroid gland are 4 tiny little glands located on the thyroid gland that control the body's calcium levels. Incorrect communication or action can compromise the health and well-being of our vocal cords and thyroid function. Compromising our metabolism, our heart rate, our body temperature, and how we assimilate our food, how we digest food, how we burn energy, how we gain or lose weight. There's a lot that goes into this. Incorrect action. Look at all of the metabolic things that can happen in the body. So it's responsible for metamorphosis and transformation through interaction with the world. It is connected to the way that manifestation takes place. This tiny little gland, and it's 4 little tiny glands that are around it, that runs the world, that creates the form. So for me, what I do is I support my thyroid by making sure that it has enough iodine, making sure that I have enough magnesium and zinc and copper in order for those calcium levels to be correct in my body. Because it isn't about taking more calcium. It's about how is the body absorbing the calcium that we are intaking. And most of us have a thyroid that is destroyed from incorrectly taking action. So defined, it's in the unhealthy state, you act and say things either, too soon or too late. What you say is not well received. You feel the urge to be impulsive, and you speak with a conditioned voice that isn't yours. The natural and healthy state, there's a consistent yet limited way to express yourself. You have a fixed way of speaking or acting, and depending on your design, you may speak primarily from your mind. Maybe you speak spontaneously from your intuitive knowing. Maybe you speak and act on responsive sounds from your gut. You might speak from personal identity, direction, or from your higher self. You may speak from I want that, I have that, I will do that. You may speak from actions or act from emotions and feelings. And we just broke that all down so that you can see that. The mind is the 62, the 23, and the 56. Intuitive knowing, that's from the spleen. That 16 and the 20. The 20 can also be spontaneous from the gut if it's connected to the 34. Maybe you speak from your identity, which is connected to either the 10, the 7, the 1, or the 13. Moving up into the throat. You speak from the I want. This is that 45 that's pointed down to the 21. Or you speak from your emotions, that 12 and that 35 that are pointed down towards the emotional center. If it's undefined, the shadow is trying to be a star. Pressure to talk, initiate conversations, take premature action, talk way too much. Feel the pressure to initiate actions. But the wisdom here is that you can naturally attract attention when you use silence. You naturally attract attention if you wait. The invitations to seek will come to you. You know you cannot plan what you will say with any consistency. You say what needs to be heard, and you know who and what is worthy of attention. You talk less and you listen more. You have the potential to express yourself in a variety of ways. You're comfortable with the silence as your natural state. Completely open. I know lots of these people, and I have lots of them in my life. Not knowing what to say or what action to take. Children may take longer to learn to talk and should be encouraged to learn at their own pace. They often speak with a borrowed voice with someone else and can end up saying the wrong things at the wrong time or being ignored altogether. Greatest wisdom potential always is a completely open center. What are we selling here? What's the theme? How can I get attention? Teaching people how to get attention is a tough business. There's so much noise. There's so much distraction. Social media for 5 minutes completely drains me. It's a very hard business. Think of our current marketplace. It's saturated. Getting attention is the key to survival of any business and a valuable currency. So if you can hone in on getting people attention, that, my friends, most of the time, your biggest budget is going to be your marketing budget. So here's the breakdown that we're going to look at so that you have it all on one page. So the 35 of progress, selling, attracting attention through shared expectation. You're not doing this alone. This is groups. This is this group manifested desire, group expectation. We want to do this with someone. As Ra would say, you can't sell masturbation to these people. Something they have to do alone. It has to be shared. Don't sell them like an individual squash court. No, they want to be with people. They want to have shared expectation. They want to be on a golf team. They want to have group tours. It's about collaboration. Sell things to couples. Couples massage or a couples what am I trying to say? The February 14th, Valentine's, there we go. A couple's Valentine's experience. So you're selling, attracting attention through shared expectation. That's what you're selling them, is this collaboration. You're selling that expectation that we're going to do this together. The 12, this is attracting attention through the art of romance. You can have somebody that translates. This is confession. The public speaker that speaks that and romanticizes their clients. That author that talks about that unrequited love, that confession, that self-analysis, very similar to what's happening over in the 20, that contemplation, I am now. Here, this is a self-analysis, this confession. It's romantic. Romance those that hate themselves. Raw romances. And if you pay money, you will fulfill the destiny of your soul. People want to be romanced. A little bit of seduction here. When you capture somebody's soul, you can get them to participate in anything. Music, art, poetry. Capture their soul. Confessions. This is confessions of the stay-at-home mom. Confessions of blah, blah, blah. People love confessions. They also love secrets. Secrets sell, but confession, that also sells. The 16 is selling, attracting attention by encouraging the unique attention getter. This is independence, self-generating, and sustaining enthusiasm. So talent is all about self-generating and sustaining enthusiasm. To bring the talent out, you need to identify with it. So this really is the rock band that gets encouraged by the groupies. And then the rock band gets attention. The gymnast that is encouraged by her coach to continue on, and he talks about her in all kinds of press conferences. You teach them how to get attention by giving them attention. So encouraging that unique attention getter. They have the talent. They have this talent, and you get to encourage it and mold it and bring it out and allow for people to see them through you. Coaches, trainers, fans, talent scouts. Others are seen through your ability to have this interaction with your client so that you can get them attention. The 20s is contemplation, selling, attracting attention through assessment, self-awareness. Now, if we go back and we look at the 12, self-analysis. Here we have self-awareness. Coaches, consultants, auditors, inspectors, intuitives. Assessing your personal action. Personal actions and effects. Deal with it right away. Don't let it slide and become a bad habit. Bad habits are hard to fix. So assess your action that you're taking. That's what I had to do. I had to assess my action. Where is my time best spent? Well, it's best spent coaching clients. Teaching them how unique they are so that they can come to a process of self-awareness. That's how I deliver. It's existential. Help people assess themselves so that they can come to a better place, take better action. The 45 is this exclusion, which totally is all about inclusion. So selling, attracting attention through being an insider. the natural and generally beneficial attraction of like forces. The 45 is that natural ruler. Cultures have been based on exclusive power centers. You finally make it when you get into the inner circle. Doing anything you can to get there. It's about brown nosing. You may have to go as far as humiliation. There's always the potential to move from the outer circle into the inner circle. So attract the attention of those that have, by offering things they don't have that they can afford to buy. Having that VIP, those luxury items, private clubs. Accountants have their own things. Lawyers have their own things. The elite of the elite have their own things. It's a natural ruler on the material plane. Attracting attention to having. You want to be inclusive. You want to be included. But when you sell exclusion, that's when people up their game. The 33, selling, attracting attention by learning from past mistakes. This is the spirit. So what was the spirit inside that experience? It's time to reflect. Privacy as a path to success. Unless you go into retreat, take a breath, reflect, discuss what you are not going to be able to get to the top. We need to be able to adapt. So the ability to be able to adapt to changes. So attract attention, pull you in or out of the limelight, and highlight things and get the right type of attention based on experience. What happened? What happened in that? Did we lose our spirit? Did we gain our spirit? Did we enhance our spirit? Historians, therapists, documentary filmmakers, reporters, commentary. What happened? And what was the result of it? And through that result, what happened to the spirit? We watch this. So a spirit of cities and towns that absolutely lose themselves. Where they're identified, for example, I come from a very, very small town, but the identification there was being a farmer. Well, back in the day, there was lots of little farmers, but now it's big corporations. So the identity of those little tiny towns are starting to fall away. Their spirit is falling away. Their spirit is changing. It's morphing. So what mistakes did we make, and how can we learn from that? The contribution, this is that 8th gate, selling, attracting attention to new and improved style. New sells, and the style is how it is sold. Style is always moving. We are always style conscious. This is PR. This is the public relations. This is the voice of the business. This is the mouthpiece for the penta. The 45 is the mouthpiece for the wa. The 8 is the mouthpiece for the penta. So attracting attention to the business. Different style of living now than in the past. So this is all about style. The substance, well, you can't sell substance or style without eventually having some kind of substance. If we're morphing and mutating, there has to eventually be substance inside that style. Because style only goes so far. So when you see things, the acceptance of style and not the substance of communal actions. Remember, I think I've said this to you guys a few times. The Rei Vai Ching was actually written for not self. Sounds a little crazy, but Ra always spoke about writing an I Ching for the awake person. I don't know if that ever happened. So here, the style. This is your PR. This is marketing. This is the announcer, the MC, the public speaker, the agent promoting. So do you see yourself in any of these businesses if you have an undefined throat? There's lots of options here, 11 different options. The 31, attracting attention to the right influences. In order to be influential, you need to be influenced properly. Selectivity, the ability to carefully assess and choose the proper influence. So as someone who is here to lead, that 31 is here to lead. You have it in an undefined throat and it's a hanging gate there. You are here to attract attention to the right influences. Selectivity. Not everybody is the correct influence. So you need to be influenced properly in order for you to be invited to selectively assist others and guide others to that correct influence. So maybe you start up a business where you have numerous different coaches doing numerous different things, and it filters through you what's the right influence for that person. Investment advisors, political leaders, what is the right influence? That is what you get to sell, selectivity. Not everyone's the right influence. 56, attracting attention by telling a story. Telling stories is about eliminating alienation. See? Do you see this? Alienation really is about eliminating it. It's about getting buy-in. You want people to buy your story. Scriptwriters, storytellers, performance, TED Talk coach, advertising. Stories sell. You know, Jesus telling a parable. You're selling the benefits over here. Tell a story in a pitch. That usually grabs the heartstrings. One of the shows or a couple of the shows I watch are Shark's Tank and Dragon's Den. One's US, one's Canadian. And you're pitching your ideas. And so often, when there is a good story behind it, those dragons and those sharks are in. They're in. So when we can talk about our story from the bottom up to the top, this is what the sales pitch is all about. You sell the benefits. What's the benefit to the experience? The 62, this is the complete opposite. This is selling features. Discovery. You're selling, attracting attention by displaying the facts. Detail work. Shopping channel that gives all the facts along the side as they're talking about the product. They might be selling you the benefits, but they're also selling you the features. The details. Car salesman might sell you miles per gallon. The computer salesman, the RAM. On the other side, it's the story behind it. When we look at the 56, 62 is details. And there's always theory here. This is the plan. This is the theory side. And once that plan is put into place, the story will emerge. So lawyers give you factual evidence, and remember, facts do not constitute truth. Statistician, you can lie through statistics. I hear people say this a lot, and this is a fact, or for a fact, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as we say that word fact, all of a sudden there is this thing inside of us that we try to make it truth for ourselves. It's not truth. It's a feature. Then the 22 of assimilation. Expressing uniqueness. This really is that individuality. We teach that so much in human design. Encouraging or bringing out that uniqueness of an artist or an inventor, performer. So one of the things that Ross said was human design, this unique system, is going to do to astrology as Rome did to Carthage. And I put in here what Carthage is. It's the part of the Punic Wars, where Rome overtook Carthage. It destroyed it and enslaved its population. That uniqueness, when you can bring new technologies and express that uniqueness, as long as it can solve a problem, people will buy what you're selling. It's leading edge. It's dangerous. It's individual. That really is what cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is quite new. People are scared. It's dangerous. But it can also lead to a lot of human beings being unenslaved on our planet. Okay. Attracting and selling, getting attention. So if you have it completely open, lots of wisdom here, you can sell in numerous different ways. Just pay attention to what's pointing towards the throat. And that will give you an indication what you're more prone to selling. If you have an open throat or an undefined throat with a hanging gate, that's going to naturally be where you receive and have reception to the material world. Is it abstract, storytelling, experience? Is it logical, details, facts, influence? Is it individual, new, romance, self-assessment? Or is it tribal, having? So assess where you're at, what you have, and we will play with this a lot in our coaching program.